Good morning, everybody. It's Judith A. Cope. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. It's been a week. I wasn't expecting any of this week. And like I said when I cleaned out my mom's closet and all her stuff, it's like everything you worry about, everything you're so concerned with, it just doesn't matter. When you die, someone's going to come into your room or your house or wherever, and they're gonna either throw shit in the trash or store it or give it away. It's not uh it's not a huge difficult concept to grasp. All the stuff you worried about and fretted over, someone just throws in the trash. So don't waste your days worrying over things. Take your health seriously. I firmly believe that nutrition and focus can raise your baseline of health wherever you are, if you want to do it. Now, I felt that way for my brother, but he didn't, so it didn't matter. He just he wanted to literally have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to have his Papa John's and eat it too. He wanted to be healthy in his mind, I guess, in theory, because he would say, I'm going to change and I'm going to do this. And it's like, it's too late. You can't eat pizza every day, especially pizza prepared outside of your house. You don't even know what's in this. So you can't eat with reckless abandon every day like you want and say you want to be healthy. Even if you're not morbidly obese like he was. Like, even if you're skinny, that doesn't mean you have good health. Just because you don't get fat doesn't mean you don't have the insides of a fat person. Like, your organs will tell the story. And so it's very important to diversify what you eat, make most of it at home, make most of it fresh, organic fruits and vegetables whenever you can. And, it's boring. It's not a fun way to eat, but, it feels good when they look at you and they're like, I'm not sure how you're getting better, but this American diet is inflammatory. You know, Alzheimer's is at its core inflammation of the brain. That's not great. You can have inflammation of the heart. You can have inflammation in all your organs. You have a lot of joint pain. That's inflammation. So I would suggest everybody try to be as anti-inflammatory as possible. Eat lots of garlic and turmeric and cinnamon, and cook. Cook your meals at home. And they don't have to be fancy. Just make it what you like. Sauces, I would avoid sugar. Sugar's bad for you. It inflames your body, causes a lot of pain. Um, and just eat as healthfully as you possibly can. Limit eating out because they're not using high quality ingredients. And just make sure you can get high quality prepared meals. And if you have to buy them, buy them. But, it is what it is. And I tried. I mean, I had gotten my brother on something called Metabolic Meals, and he really enjoyed it until he stopped opening the boxes and putting the food in the freezer. There was a point, like, there have been many red flags with him. And he was spending $100 a week on this food. It was high quality. And he just started to leave the boxes on the front porch or sitting in the house unopened. So it was rotting food. And I'm not saying this to embarrass him. I'm saying that when someone has a disease like bipolar disorder, their brains eventually deteriorate as well. So over the years, so he was acting like an 84 or 85-year-old person, but he was only 64. And so the fact that he lived as long as he did by himself on his own is pretty extraordinary. And I want people to recognize that I get it if you don't want to take care of somebody, but you need to put things in place. He made a fair amount of money, but I'm probably going to have to go to probate court because he just had all these pockets of money and he only put himself on the accounts. So even though he had a bachelor's in finance, he didn't plan for the future. He only planned for his retirement, but nothing else after that, which I think a lot of people do. They just life is going to be done for them after they retire, so they don't do that retirement planning that includes the after they're alive part. So if I can urge somebody to do that differently, I am urging you to do that differently. Do it before you get sick, you know, because eventually you're not going to be here. I'm not going to be here. At some point, we're all going to be gone. And I'm not sure why people don't want to talk about it. I'm not afraid to die, you know. So there's tons of people who just will not plan. And they have complicated situations, multiple homes, cars, 4 and 5 kids. Like you've got to plan. You've got to make a plan. Just if you love these people at all, you will make some sort of plan for your eventual demise because that's going to happen to all of us. And there's nothing to be afraid of. And you should be proud if you've already done the proper planning because that's part of having a family. Yeah, planning for when you're not going to be here. I tell the story all the time. My dad would say, almost daily growing up, you got to figure this stuff out. I'm not going to be around all the time. You got to figure this out. I'm not going to always be here. You got to, and I remember there was a point where I was like, God, I hope he makes it to my 8th grade graduation. I was like in second and third grade. He was like, look, you need to understand how to figure things out. And I appreciate that because I did always think in my mind, like, I've got to come up with a solution. I need to learn how to take care of myself. I need to do these certain things because I'm not always going to have my dad to bail me out. And he was right. He got sick. He got diagnosed with Alzheimer's when I was 26 years old. So from, I don't know, the mid to late 90s to now, I haven't really had his influence because his brain deteriorated really quickly, but in plateaus. So like he dipped from like 96 to 2002, which might be the last time I saw him. Uh, and then it was just too brutal for me after that. And I had a cousin, he was like, "You gonna really regret not going to see him?" I'm like, "I won't. I cannot see him like this. This has been horrible." And he wouldn't want me to see him like that. And I know that about my dad. And we were close enough that it didn't matter what other people said or if I was there holding his hand. He had a lovely wife who took great care of him, and I was only in my 30s, and it was ripping me up. And I was like, I just can't see my dad like this. He was one of the few people I asked for advice that I trusted, and he really knew me. And so that was heart wrenching. It really, really hurt. And then, you know, feeling like, phew, I escaped that. Then my mom got sick. My mom got sick. I think I noticed something probably around 2017. My father passed away in 2009. My mom went with me to his funeral. He had 3 wives. All 3 of his wives were at his funeral. It was something. It was something. I've had a very interesting life. A lot of people are just now hearing about my brother. They didn't even know I had a bipolar sibling. It wasn't something I just spent a lot of time talking about because it was unpleasant. You know, not knowing him. Like I said, we had fun moments, but there were a lot of unfun moments too. And you just don't talk about them because if you talk about it, then that means you're thinking about it. And I try to be in the moment. And if I'm not doing something unpleasant or cleaning up after him or asking him for the millionth time why he did something so strange, uh, I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing that's fun, more fun than that. So I'm not thinking about it. But, you know, it's been a journey. And my father got sick. And then also during that time, I was still having to take my mom to Alabama to see about my brother. He got a job transfer. And like he lived this extraordinary life. I don't think anybody would look on paper and be able to see this future for him. But he required a lot of attention and care. And, um, he just he made friends relatively easily, and a lot of people liked him, but he would never ever ask for help, and he would never hire help. He probably should have had a caregiver 15 years ago, but he was legendarily cheap and very prideful and stubborn. And every time you make a suggestion, he would pretend like he was listening to you, and then he would go do whatever the fuck he was gonna do. It was wild, man. It was just, I've never analyzed it this much because it was so frustrating. But he loved his family, and he loved his family. But it was a challenging relationship. It was challenging to be his younger sibling. But I hope wherever he is restored of sound mind and body, and with his family that has preceded him in death, and that they are taking care of him and restoring him in ways that could never happen on earth. So my message to everybody that I've learned this week is prepare. It's not enough to have a will. It's not enough to have a power of attorney, because once the person passes away, the power of attorney is pretty much useless. And unless you have a trust. So if you have assets, if you have cars and houses and insurance policies outside of the ones from your job, if you have CDs and savings accounts, do yourself a favor, pay the money, go talk to an elder care attorney, and get all of that taken care of. It's the responsible thing to do. It's the loving thing to do. And sorry about that. Got a phone call from one of my cousins who's going to help me clear out my brother's place tomorrow. Uh, I mean, that's really all that's going to be happening. It's just administrative stuff. And, I'm of an age where I have no shame about calling somebody to come and do something. So, like hire somebody, to be clear. So we're going to keep going through the basics of all of his stuff, which is what I was saying. Like when you pass on, people just either give your stuff away or throw it away or have a couple of mementos, and that's it. So I don't remember what I was saying, but like don't spend your life stressing about things that are out of your control. And keep in mind, I'm not saying obsess over it, but keep in mind you're not going to be here one day. And it's important to get prepared. And if you love folks, go ahead and get your paperwork done. And if you don't have a ton of assets, that's great. Keep it minimal. But if you do have assets, protect them for your family. So anyway, I hope you have an amazing weekend. I can't believe the week has gone this fast. I just feel like, well, I didn't do a podcast Monday for obvious reasons, but I feel like I was just telling people what was going on. But be in the moment, be present, love the people who love you. Um, I don't know what's going on The Pit. I like that show, but the last two episodes, it really makes you wonder if Dr. Robbie is going to make it. He seems like he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Um, but it's a good show. It's on HBO. I went on ahead and started rewatching the show Billions. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. I guess I didn't really watch it because I don't remember any of the stuff that I've seen so far. But I think I'm going to like rewatching it. So I'm happy to have another series to sink my teeth into. And this one doesn't have anything to do with uh, crime. So that's a switch for me. Take care of yourselves. Honestly, you could do anything. You listen to this podcast, you support it. The feedback is great. I appreciate it. Um, and we'll meet back here next week with some more life lessons. Maybe not. Maybe no more life lessons. But but yeah, I hope to meet you back here next week. Take care. Love you.